Happy haunting! Your children are excited about the upcoming festivities. Use this to engage them in a lesson at home. Welcome to Epic Mom Life. I am your host, Kara Peterson. This show is sponsored by The Possum's Tale, a unique book adventure for your 6 to 12-year-old child. Let's jump into today's show. Happy haunting! Homeschool Halloween plan. Halloween has its roots in Celtic traditions. Many cultures celebrate this time of year, for example, All Saints' Day, Samhain, and Halloween in the United States. We have made it a celebration of costumes, decorations, pumpkins, crafts, I have a link to that article, fun foods, link to that article, candy, and trick-or-treating. If you want a safe but fun alternative to trick-or-treating, be sure to check out Trunk or Treat, and I also have a checklist for that in the show notes. Your children are excited about the upcoming festivities. Use this to engage them in a lesson at home. I like to have a hook in the lessons I plan simply because it makes the lesson more memorable and the children more excited to learn. Halloween gives you a great hook ready to go. I usually concentrate on lesson plans for elementary age children. However, here is a lesson plan for young ones. It actually has several lessons within it. The lesson plans that I have here are just kind of like brief overviews. The lesson plans that I sell they walk you through step by step by step by step as a parent. You can easily do, because I only have one for the young kids age before elementary, you can easily do a colors or shapes Halloween activity as well. For example, the triangle in the witch's hat, the circle for the pumpkin. You could do all kinds of things, and you could do colors, and there's a lot you could do. I just did a math one. Counting spooky objects. Your objective: develop counting skills and number recognition 1 through 10 using Halloween-themed objects. Visuals. Introduce the concept of counting numbers using Halloween-related terms. Bats, pumpkins, ghosts, that kind of thing. The things that you'll be using are flashcards or visual aids to show what the numbers 1 through 10 look like, and you're going to discuss their meanings. You can add an arts and crafts activity to this by making your own flashcards and then having them, like color in 3 cats or 4 bats or however you want to do that. You can add color recognition by introducing color themes like 5 pumpkins or black cats or purple hats. And you can have your child cut the objects and then paste them onto the flashcards. These are all skills that are in the objectives for kindergartners and going into kindergarten, like kindergarten emergent skills. So the fine motor skills and holding scissors and those kind of things. So even though this is a math activity, blending those skills are great things to do. The math activity. Provide a tray with Halloween-themed objects such as plastic spiders, mini pumpkins, ghost-shaped toys. Where you can find a lot of these actually are in the party aisle, and they'll have a whole bunch of little things maybe that you put on cakes or that you decorate, and you can cut off the sticks or something and you'll have all of these things. Ask the children to count the objects and place them in groups according to their number. For example, all the spiders in one group, all the pumpkins in another group. And I love this activity because you don't even realize it, but you're also teaching grouping and categorizing, which is another one of those skills. Sensory play. Fill a large container with colored rice. Hiding Halloween-themed objects. You can put in plastic spiders, mini pumpkins, ghost figurines, that kind of thing. And you let the children dig in with their hands and find those objects, counting them as they bring them up. Story time. Read a Halloween-themed counting book, such as 10 Timid Ghosts or 1, 2, 3, Boo. I like 1, 2, 3, Boo. It's a counting book. I like this simply because it's also an I Spy book, and what kid doesn't love an I Spy book? Craft activity. Provide the children with a sheet of paper and markers and ask them to draw a specific number of Halloween objects. Super easy, right? So that would be an example of a whole couple days or whatever of lesson plans you can do towards just the math part of the Halloween lesson plan. You could do shapes, you could do colors. I also came up with 2 lesson plans for elementary or upper elementary. Design a haunted house. So the objective is to encourage creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills through a Halloween-themed design challenge. Introduction. You're going to begin by discussing the concept of haunted houses and their association with Halloween. Talk about what makes a haunted house spooky. What are the different architectural features and elements commonly associated with haunted houses, such as bats, cobwebs, squeaky door hinges, eerie lighting? Research and inspiration. Assign your child to research different types of haunted houses or spooky architectural structures. Encourage them to gather inspiration from books, online sources, or even real-life haunted house stories. So if your kid totally goes with this, do reading of haunted house stories. You can actually also get haunted lighthouses as a total aside, which is a lot of fun. Design brief and brainstorming. Provide your child with parameters or a design brief for their structure, including specific requirements and constraints, size limitations, budget, spooky elements to include. Basically what you're doing, if you know anything about all the lesson plans I design, the things I like, what I think is critical in a good lesson plan, it's a rubric. You are creating a haunted house design rubric. This way your child knows exactly what they need to include and what the restraints are, like if they aren't allowed to spend money or whatever it is. I love rubrics. So if you are looking for a rubric, I go into lesson in this in my 3rd grade writing lesson plan. Once your child has a design in mind, allow them to brainstorm with you and share ideas. This works especially well if you're part of a homeschool co-op because the children can share and brainstorm together. Materials and construction planning. Discuss the materials that they think they will need to construct their haunted houses. So typically you might think, oh, shoe boxes, cardboard, craft paper, markers, glue, that kind of thing. But what if they totally went outside of the box and they're thinking sugar cubes or cones or I don't know. Your child might go totally out of the box, but they're going to need to have that list of things so they can do that. Now you're going to allocate time for them to build their haunted houses. So if you looked at my homeschool planning journey from chaos to curriculum, and I'll put a link in there, and my steps, home sweet homeschool, and I'll put a link to that. In one of those, I talk about the day and how I would have a core for subjects, and then I would have 2 hours of creation time. This is precisely why I would have the creation time, because you're going to need time to just construct. This is a perfect example of why I would do that. So encourage your child to experiment with different materials and techniques. That's what I mean by they could do the sugar cubes. They could paint the whole thing black. They could do whatever they want. You want them to have fun with this assignment. Just let them run with it. Presentation and critique. Once the haunted house is complete, it is ideal if you can find a way for them to present it. If they can share it, even if it's with your family, encourage them to explain their design choices, point out the spooky elements, share any challenges they face during construction. This sharing of their design actually helps meet speech and communication requirements as well. Practice is fabulous. Facilitate a constructive critique session also. Again, it is ideal if you spent time constructing that design element rubric for the haunted house, because that way your child can critique their own creation with you there to listen and give feedback as they're saying it. Extension activity, storytelling. Have students write a short spooky story or create a narrative about their haunted house, incorporating the design elements and spooky features that they included. They could have a whole Scooby-Doo episode right through their haunted house. They could do all kinds of things. This lesson plan encourages creativity, critical thinking, and hands-on construction skills while incorporating Halloween themes and concepts. It provides engaging and challenging activity for mid to upper elementary students during the Halloween session. Did you love that lesson? But are you looking for something that is Halloween themed but maybe less whimsical? How about a Halloween history lesson? Unveiling Halloween origins. Objective: to explore the historical roots and significance of Halloween through research discussions and creative activities. Begin by discussing Halloween as a holiday celebrated October 31st and its association with costumes, trick-or-treating, spooky traditions, that kind of thing. Explain that Halloween has its historical roots and has evolved over time. Research and presentation. Briefly introduce Celtic traditions, Samhain, All Saints' Day, that kind of thing, that are referenced to Halloween, and ask your child to research the one that interests them the most. Provide resources such as books, articles, online references to assist your child in their research. Have your child create a brief presentation, poster, PowerPoint, whatever, to share with your family or other homeschoolers. This will also meet that speech and presentation requirement, what they've learned. Historical costume design. Explain that costumes have been a part of Halloween traditions throughout history. Allow your child to have fun and design historically accurate costumes. They choose a historical era and they design a Halloween costume inspired by that era. Encourage them to consider the clothing, accessories, the cultural elements, everything relevant to that chosen era. Costume presentation and explanation. Once done, have your child show the drawings or what they have created for their costume. Then ask your child to explain the historical context of their costume, including the era and cultural references that they incorporate. Historical Halloween games. Explain different Halloween games or traditions from different historical periods. Example, bobbing for apples, divination games like fortune telling. You can have your child research these. Have them pick the ones that interest them. And then, where did they come about? Why did they come about? Just off the top of my head, is fortune telling or reading the hands or the thing, was that a gypsy thing? Did that have its roots in a Halloween thing? Where did that come from? I'm kind of curious. Extension activity. Creative writing. Ask students to write a short fictional story set in a historical period during Halloween. Encourage them to incorporate historical details and Halloween elements into their stories. So this lesson plan combines research, discussion, creative activities, and historical context to deepen students' understanding of Halloween's origins. It fosters critical thinking skills, cultural appreciation, and historical knowledge among elementary age children. What's the good of being a ghost if you can't frighten people away? Barbara in Beetlejuice. If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to send you a huge thank you. Please leave me a comment or review and share with other moms you know. Get in touch in the comments or on Kara's social media networks. See you next week for a new episode.